I didn't think that through. Hold on.
It's really good.
Glug, 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 glug. Oh, God. Oh, God. There you go.
That one's for me.
Holy shit.
Give me
my notes. You guys, the growler is hard.
We really need to find a more efficient way.
This would be a good time.
I kind of love it,
Before
though.
we get into the beat, this would be a good time to mention that today's episode is brought to you by Empirical Brewery. Julie?
Exploring the science of beer.
So we're pouring some growler shots. So are we ready for the beat?
Yeah. I mean, I'm always ready
All
for
right,
the
Julie.
beat.
It's a short beat.
Okay.
Hey, Julie.
Yeah?
Who's got two thumbs, speaks limited French, and forgot how problematic the spanking episode is? This moi!
I knew it was coming and I was still pissed off.
I love it. I love it.
No, not you. The episode.
You know, we'll get there because there's a lot to talk about with this one.
Yep.
And I, for the most part, think it's all right. Like, I think it's like a clear-eyed exploration of the way that the time you exist in can shape you, even if you're fundamentally decent, right? But her butt.
Her butt. She can't even sit on it.
Yeah. Sit on it, Claire.
Sit on it.
Hi, I'm Allison.
I'm Julie.
That's Janine.
Hey!
And this is Podlander Drunkcast, an Outlander podcast. Today we are talking about Season 1, Episode 9 of Outlander, The Reckoning. There's actually a G on there. I just felt like playing it fast and loose. A lot like... Nope, there isn't really any like... No, I guess like a lot like Leary. A lot like Leary Mackenzie.
Fast and loose is right.
Oh, I don't want to be judgy.
Or more like dumb and stupid. I hate her so much.
We'll get to this, but I tried really hard when we talked about Leary in season 2. I tried really hard to put myself in her shoes again, and it's interesting because I think it's like, oh, you're stupid, you poor thing. You're stupid, you poor thing.
You're so
stupid,
dumb.
you poor thing, bitch.
It's
right?
like when I first saw her, I was like, oh God, oh she sucks so hard. And then by the end, I was like, I hope you die. I know it's really harsh.
Oh God,
but
I remember
dude,
being that stupid. I remember being that
I was
stupid.
young once. I was never that fucking stupid. Well, I have friends listening to this who might believe otherwise.
Before we jump in, today we are drinking, Julie, what are we drinking?
We are drinking Empirical Brewery's Honey Rye Cream Ale. We have had this in the past. It's one of our favorites.
It's so good.
It's delicious.
We are also drinking, and we have to thank you all for this, a teeny tiny bottle of Villa Giolanda Prosecco with extra sec. That's what it says on the back.
Extra dry.
Yeah, come on. Extra sec. Extra sec. And that's because we had our biggest month in the history of the podcast last month, and it wasn't close. I assume that part of it is because you all just wanted to hear Janine's reactions to the boning. But regardless, it was by far the biggest month we've had. It was really excited for all of us. Julie had a bit of a bummer of a Thanksgiving.
A bit.
And it really lifted her spirits.
It did. It did.
Even with that boot on.
Oh my God.
If you didn't tune into the bonus episode, you won't know, but poor Julie broke her foot for justice.
I broke my foot because I was wearing the wrong fucking shoes to protest. That's really it. It wasn't even like I kicked somebody in the face or like tripped over a barricade. No, I was just wearing moccasins and it was dumb.
Beyond the barricade, I will wear moccasins on my feet.
But you guys, tomorrow morning, I find out if I can take off the littlest boot. Ooh. I hope I can take it off.
Well, let's go tune in next week for continuations of the boot saga.
Find out if I take that shit off.
So that's what we're drinking today. And now let's talk about The Reckoning.
All right.
So where do we start with this thing, Julie?
We start out with a voiceover, but this time it's not Claire. It's Jaime.
And you know what's interesting about this? First of all, it's the only time so far that we've gotten an episode from somebody's perspective other than Claire's, except for the sort of Frank episode, where we were jumping back and forth between Frank, but Frank didn't get a voiceover.
Nope.
So this is the only, and I gotta say, we make fun of those little monologues from time to time. but our girl Kitchen and Baltham is way better at it than our friend Sam Hugon.
Yeah, our friend Sam Hugon was not ready for this.
No. I mean, don't get me
was
wrong.
okay.
Would still fuck the voice.
Of course.
I'd fuck that voice.
Whatever. But he was not really ready
We
for
got to earn that explicit rating early today. Real early.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Are we rated explicit?
Oh, yeah.
Fuck yes,
Always.
of course we
it's
are.
our default setting on iTunes. I don't even bother to change it.
Why would you?
No.
I'm going to drop all the F-bombs.
It's always going to be this way, folks. It's always going to be this way.
So
Anyway.
it's Jaime talking to the ether, whatever. I don't know how that works for you when you do a monologue. I imagine talking to the ether. And it's very similar to Claire's Blue Vase monologue in that it starts out in nature and then it tightens up on Jaime by himself thinking about things. And he's talking about how he's always made a choice. Like he'll come up to a decision and then he follows a choice and follows it through to its logical conclusion. And I think it's leading up to what we see later.
And one day I realized all those choices had led me to where I am.
Yeah.
And when I realized that, oh God, my accent's even worse than usual. That was when I became a man.
Yeah, that was when I became a man.
I'm pretty
It's
sure
no.
that when you became a man, Jaime, is when Claire bit your nipple to teach you that pain could be pleasure.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's when you actually became a man. Janine, do you have an opinion on that?
I completely agree with that.
Okay, great. But still, choices. Okay. Choices.
He did say at one point, every day man has a choice between love and hate. And I burst into tears.
It's a difficult time to be a human with feelings.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so we get through this Jaime log.
Right.
And wind up where?
We wind up with our Scottish dudes talking to the deserter Horrocks, who's the one that actually saw.
Remember, rocks. Points at Claire. Points at rocks. Points at Claire. Points at
rocks.
Just kidding. Just kidding. That's not what
And
happened.
our main man Horrocks is kind of a douchebag, and he gets his money, but he sounds just like Bono. Which maybe actually makes him
And you know,
more of a douchebag.
At the end, he leaves unsatisfied because he still hasn't found what he's looking for. And you know, that's really hard because he's wandering where the streets have no names.
Oh,
Cheers.
cheers.
You guys are so together.
We try.
You know why? You know why we're so together? Because it's Sunday, Bloody Sunday.
Oh my God.
Nailed it.
You got me.
It's also a beautiful day.
No. It was not a beautiful day in Chicago, let my boot tell you.
Come on, Julie, give it one love.
Oh God. We got. Let me help.
Alice and I will do this podcast with or without you.
No. Oh God, we've gotten into a hole.
We're back.
Anyway, Horrocks totally sounds like Bono, but they give him the money, and what does he say? Dum dum dum. Who was the guy that shot the guy that Jamie's blamed for killing? Guess.
The beach.
Mm-hmm. So we're once again reminded how horrible a horrible person is.
Although we should keep in mind that this is a totally bullshit dude telling them this.
True.
And while we can completely believe that it was the Beach who did this, it could also, I mean, we verify our sources.
Right.
Not a reputable source.
No, Horrocks
Right?
is not a
He's
reputable
not.
source.
So it could be somebody else. At the very least, the information he gave him, true or not, is unusable.
Right. He can't say anything about it.
He
Nobody's
can't be
going to
like,
believe him.
oh, well, I'm innocent because it was that guy, the one who gets to decide whether I'm innocent or not.
Right.
That's not useful. That's not useful, Horrocks.
Horrocks. Get out. And they throw a bag of gold at him and he runs away.
And then who shows
I almost
up?
made a leprechaun joke there, but I stopped.
Little Willie Poopy Pants.
Yeah. Oh man, Willie. So Willie
having
comes
a rough
running
go
up.
of
He's
it.
very upset. He explains that Claire escaped, and he tries to pass it off like I went to take a piss. And I'm like, Willie, why are you so ashamed?
and everybody's
of
like,
pooping?
then why do your boots smell like human feces?
Light a match, Willie.
What are matches?
Yeah. What? But so Willie comes back and he's like, oh, Claire got away. I had to take a piss.
And I saw redcoats taking her.
Yeah. And so everybody flips the fuck out. They're headed north. Mm-hmm. So now we realize that we have actually gone back a little bit in time. So we are witnessing what they went through while Claire was getting taken to Fort William.
And this leads to one of my favorite little reversals in the series so far, which is when Jaime, after We don't get all that many action sequences in Outlander that aren't incredibly disturbing battles. So this is really fun because Murtaugh gets that one time where he says thank you, and then he knocks somebody out with the butt of his gun or whatever.
That's coming up, and I have an impersonation.
Oh, go for it.
So they go to Fort William and they guerrilla their way in, and Murtaugh and Jaime have this guy in the stable, and Murtaugh he's pinned down, and Murtaugh has a knife to his nads, and they're like, "Where's the British woman? Where is she? Where is she?" And he's like, I don't know. And they're like, you know. And then like the knife's getting closer and closer to his nads. And then he finally says, she's in the tower with Black Jack Randall, whatever. And Jamie's like, ugh, and leaves because now he knows where he's going. And then Murtaugh stands up and looks at this guy and goes, thank you. And then knocks him out with the butt of his gun. Thank you.
It's really hard because we started this podcast in season 2. It's very difficult to backdate exactly when Julie and I became so obsessed with Murtaugh. I think that it probably began in earnest right around Jamie needs a woman and lady will be a lassie until the day she dies, I think is actually when it sort of started. But definitely here is by this time I have a fever, and the fever is more Murtaugh.
Yeah,
right.
The only prescription
is more Murtaugh.
Pamplemousse.
Yeah, because it's the littlest moment, but it's the best.
Right before that, though, there was an incredible sequence that I did not know is how it worked. Did you see Jaime put his kilt on? Do you know how a man puts the kilt on? By laying on the ground.
So I've seen, it's this weird rolly, apparently all Scotsmen have different methods. But you see Jaime do this a couple times throughout the show, and this time it's Julie's favorite little bumper sequence where we get the title card. And he has to lay on the ground and like roll around.
So I guess they don't have the saying, I'm just like everybody else. I put one pant leg on at a time.
Totally. It's the closest thing I've ever seen to a male equivalent of the weird shit you have to do to get pantyhose on. Right? Like it's like...
Yeah. He lays it out on the ground and like burritos himself up and then throws it over and throws the brooch on. It's pretty interesting.
That actually sounds really cool.
Blanket burrito. You're welcome, Neil.
I got distracted when I was watching it again this morning when I thought, man, somebody should take this sequence and make it go backwards so that everybody can fantasize about Jaime slowly taking his kilt off, only to take it off he has to lay down and roll
wiggle around.
Right?
So they're in Fort William now. We know that the game is afoot. They're sneaking around with their incredible guerrilla warfare skills, which they actually have. And so Jaime knows she's in the tower now, and he figures out a way to get up there. Like he knocks out one guy silently so that nobody else knows. And
Hey, point of interest.
Yeah.
Remember, slight spoiler alert. We won't put it in the spoiler section because it doesn't really matter. But you remember when they steal the cannons in season 2?
Yeah.
Your favorite non-sex sex scene? Ugh. And he comes back all covered with the shit. How come they didn't do that?
I don't know. I thought about that a little bit. I was like, makeup missed opportunity.
Come on.
Smear some mud on your face.
I know you're in a hurry, but like, it's not like there's a shortage of mud in Scotland.
I'll tell you why they didn't do it.
Why?
Just a second. Put a pin in that.
Okay.
So he goes around and he finally figures out, here's how he can get to the tower, but he comes out on top of it. He's like, how am I going to get down there? And he looks over the edge and it's nothing but the vast wide ocean, like 500 feet below him. And he's like, fuck this. And there's a rope hanging there. I don't know what it was, something I'm sure to do with if a ship pulled in, pulling something off of a ship. But he uses it to rappel down the side of the tower. And he's about halfway between the top of it and the window when you hear Claire scream, which is, we know what's happening. And he's like, and he gets down there and he gets in the window and he looks in and sees, and then he cocks the gun. And then
this is my favorite reversal because we end the first half of season 1, and I'm not sure that we even talked about this exact last line with you, Janine, because it's like, go ahead and file away in the part of your brain that's really confused sexually about Jamie Fraser. I'll thank you to be taking your hands off my wife.
Filed.
Oof.
That's why he couldn't have mud on his face.
Because he had to look hot
Because he
in
had
that
to
shot?
have that moment.
Oh, that's exactly
but we already
why.
know how hot he looks with mud on his face.
It had to be
Cleaner.
just Jamie. It had to be like Jamie.
I'm going to try to do it as sexy as I can. Hold on.
We're going to screenshot that shit.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you to be taking your hands off my wife.
Jamie is Marilyn Monroe.
Yes, a little bit. But then Blackjack Randall has that great moment that I love where he gets stopped mid-rape and starts laughing because he just truly cannot believe that this is happening. Jamie gets in.
It is a great moment.
Moment.
If you were to make a list of the top 10 best moments of the series, it would be in there. It wouldn't be at the top, but it'd be in the hunt.
That would be a very hard list to make. So
we'll have to do that sometime.
So he gets in and he's got this gun, and then Beej comes back and like gathers himself, and then he puts a knife to Claire's throat and it's like, you step any closer, I'm going to slit her damn throat. And we know that he will. So Jamie takes this threat very seriously and he sets the gun down on the table, and you're like, Jamie.
I would like to point out that Jamie is wise in that he doesn't underestimate a fucking crazy person.
Right.
Unlike roughly 52% of the American people. Although I guess not. Popular vote, what, 46? Is it 46?
46 to 43.
Whatever. A really fucking sizable percentage of the American people. Anyway.
So he lays the gun down, and then B just like, I'm on this, and he's doing all his evil monologuing with Claire, and her boobs are out. It's horrible. And he's like got a knife right to the throat, and he crabs
There's also
over.
all the talk about whether or not Jamie will show him his back to see his handiwork.
Right. And do you want to watch me rape your wife and like all this shit? He's just being horrible. And he crabs his way over to the gun.
It's obviously turned on too. It's
yes.
gross.
He crabs his way over to the gun, and he picks up the gun and points it right at Jamie's face and pulls the trigger. Click. Guess what? Gun's unloaded. Freaks him out for a second.
Hot shit.
And then Jamie beats the shit out of him. Yes.
That's like gotta kill.
But then guess what?
We also briefly, there's a moment where Beej transfers the knife to Claire's nipple.
Yeah. Or her gut. He's pointing it right here.
But there's also a nipple moment, isn't there?
That's when he is threatening her when she's by herself.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right.
But anyway, it's still gross. It's gross. It's all disgusting. But he picks up that gun and
puffs to you.
It just puffs in his face. And then Jamie's like, bam, just like knocks his face into the table. He's out. And then Jamie has his monologue comes back and he's like, I don't know why I didn't kill him. And I laughed because that's exactly what I was writing. I was like, Jamie, why the fuck didn't you kill that asshole?
Because he's got a sense of honor.
Yeah, well, that honor is going to be hard to come by in 2 episodes.
You know, there's one thing we can maybe add this to a list of things that Jamie is not good at.
Yeah.
Jamie is not good at being a ruthless killer.
Jamie is not good at being a ruthless killer.
Or let's put it this way. Jamie is not good at killing. Although, no, you know what? Backtrack. Because remember, Ned Gowan said, don't kill anybody.
Oh, that's right. Because they're in Fort William. So it would be bad idea.
So they're already doing something that, like,
incredibly
part of
illegal.
All the action of this episode is going to be springing from the fact that they had to do this incredibly problematic thing to bust Claire loose. And Ned Gowan said, don't kill people, which is why Jamie had all the guns unloaded. So I'm not sure why he says, I don't know why I didn't kill him. Although I guess in theory he could have killed him.
Future.
You know, he could have killed him and then dumped him out the window.
That's right.
And then he would have disappeared into the fucking sea.
And nobody would have known.
They would have been like, oh, Blackjack Randall, he's probably off, whipping some dudes.
Yeah. Anyway,
he's off with the Duke of Sandringham. I can't wait.
So they leave. They get Claire. There's a big to-do when they're leaving. Like, they get caught, whatever. But then there's this huge explosion. Boom! And all the soldiers in Fort William, you're like, and they can't hear. And you have that scene, obligatory these days now, I believe, where after an explosion happens, you hear,
oh, yeah.
Hold on. Same time. Ready?
Yeah, it's like that. And then they get away, and then I believe we just rejoin them at Castle Leoch.
Well, that's when we get credits, I think, isn't it?
Oh, or no. It goes on beyond that. Hold on. Let me think about this.
We don't go to Castle Leoch. We go to a tavern. Well, first they have the fight. They have the little fight by the river.
Oh my God. That's right. Because I didn't take any notes during this fight because it was so good.
Oh, it's great.
Tell me about the fight.
Janine is very excited.
I did have one comment.
It's been a while.
It has been a while. So they're Dougal and the boys.
The lads.
Basically thinking like Heavy D and the boys, whatever. Dougal and the boys. And like Jamie and Claire they've escaped. It's the next morning and they're like by this babbling brook. It's great Scottish porn. And then all of a sudden there's this perfect mist. And I'm like, do they have a mist cannon? Do they like the show people? Do they just like have a mist over there?
I think maybe Scotland is like actually just like that.
Just misty. All right. So
it's full of fairies. It's just going to show up.
You're right.
Fairies.
So you can tell that all the dudes are pissed. And Claire
And this is part of why this episode is complicated. We'll get there.
And Claire is very like quiet. And of course, she's just been through some trauma. So of course we understand why. But Jaime's like, all right, I'm going to go talk to my wife. And then they go off a little piece away from the guys. Of course, they start screaming at each other. Not far enough away.
Like, not even close.
But they do start having a very realistic argument.
Oh, yeah.
Which is all about, you don't tell me what to do, and then go back and forth. And then you finally realize she says some really shitty stuff to him. He says some really shitty stuff to her. They're both angry and hurting. And then Jaime sits down because he can't believe what did he call her? He called her a bitch or something. He did something really like gross. And after she called him a fucking idiot or something.
Fucking sadist.
Yeah, you're a fucking sadist.
Oh, no, that's later. Mm-hmm. Fucking bastard.
Fucking bastard. That's right.
Oh, because later when he says it, he says, what is fucking?
Yeah. So she screams at him. He screams at her. But then he sits down and he's like, I just rescued you from Fort William with my bare hands and an unloaded gun.
And Fort William is where he got whipped until he almost died.
Right. And then he goes,
and we already know that Jaime's got a little PTSD thing going.
And he goes, you are ripping my guts out. Oh. And it was real. And Sam Huhan, you know what? Good job.
Those are snaps.
Good job, buddy. And then Claire's like, oh, I'm sorry. And then they're both sorry. And they apologize to each other. And things are kind of on the up and up now. Like,
and they also
they're okay
both
together.
have good points. His point is, why the fuck did you ignore me when I told you to just stay here because that's the safe thing? And
her point is, don't tell me what to fucking do.
Oh, no, but you don't care about my opinion because I'm only a woman. Mm-hmm. And like, they're both good points. Mm-hmm. And he, of course, doesn't have all the information because what he doesn't know is that she realized she was by Craigna Crocks. Yes. And wanted to see if she could get back to Frank. So she didn't just leave to piss Jaime off. She left because she was trying to get back to her own fucking time.
What was the end game there, though? She would have pissed him off either way. What if she just disappeared?
Yeah, but like, Julie, we have penicillin.
I know. It's real.
And birth control.
It's true, but we don't.
I want to make penicillin the
showers. We have showers.
That was the first piece.
Yeah, penicillin is important.
Although I'll tell you this, and this isn't a spoiler. Oh. Mm-hmm. You're allergic to penicillin?
Yeah, I am.
You know what, Julie? I'm really glad I know that as your friend.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Someday,
you may need to know this.
Which hopefully never happens. Yeah. If the EMTs arrive because you've thrown yourself out of a window because you hate Leary so much.
Don't put it past me tonight.
I'll say, oh, by the way, she's allergic to penicillin.
Mm-hmm. That's the only thing I'm allergic to, though.
I'm allergic to cut grass.
Oh.
Really?
And I'm allergic-ish to bees, but only ish.
Not like a My Girl situation.
Like I don't need No.
Oh, no, I'm sad.
No, I don't need an incredibly overpriced fuck children EpiPen. I do, however, have the issue where if I get stung, I swell a little bit.
Gross.
And I somehow I've stepped on a bee once. I've only been stung by a bee once, and it was at a dinner when I was at Bada, and I was reaching for a chafing dish on like a dock next to the Thames, and
fancy,
and a bee stung me, and my whole hand swelled up, and my teacher said, Mark Wing Davey, said, do you need some Benadryl? And I said yes, and I had never had to take Benadryl because I've had sort of a charmed life injury wise, knock wood. So I didn't realize you shouldn't take it and drink.
Oh, man.
So I'd already been drinking. Then I kept drinking. Mm-mm. And by the time we hit 11 p.m., I was standing in line to get the 6th Harry Potter book in Oxford. And there were Hagrid impersonators and owls and fire eaters everywhere. And I thought I was going to die. It was great. There are pictures of me from that night where I look like, I don't know, like Augustus Gloop, but skinnier. You know, when he walks in and he sees the chocolate factory and he's like, his eyes are filled with wonders because everything is edible and it's just Christmas. Like that. Only hammered.
Yeah, and out of your mind.
And slightly skinnier.
And you wanted to go to sleep so bad.
And no, Harry Potter.
Oh, man, Benadryl,
I stayed up
puts me
all
out.
night and read that book. I slept 2 hours. I'm a champion.
After a Benadryl and drinking, you might have a superpower.
Bamf.
And that is taking Benadryl.
Anyway. So they have this wonderful fight. I mean, terrible fight, but wonderful. Like, really well acted, really well written. And you think, oh, everything is settled between them.
And then they go into town and they are at a tavern. And Heavy D and the boys, Heavy Gilf and the boys are all at their tables.
Oh, it's Heavy D is fine because Dougal.
Yeah, Heavy D. Heavy D and the boys are all over there, like, talking and telling jokes and stuff. And Claire's kind of on the outside and she starts trying to interject herself into the conversation like she always has. But nobody is looking at her or listening to her. It's like she doesn't exist. And I said, that's my future.
Oh, no, it's not. Oh. Julie, you demand to be seen more than anyone I've ever met in my entire life.
Have you guys watched what's the Tina Fey show that was on Netflix with Titus Burgess?
Kimmy Schmidt?
Thank you, Kimmy Schmidt. Carol Kane. That's my future. I'm going to chain myself to a motherfucking backhoe and nobody is going to pay attention because I'm a middle-aged woman.
First of all, no. Reasons.
Oh, God.
One, you've already got Elaine Stritch glasses. You cannot ignore somebody in Elaine Stritch glasses. You just can't. Think of every time you've ever seen a picture of Elaine Stritch.
I can't ignore that.
Right.
But then again, I appreciate quality.
Two, you're 10 times louder than Carol Kane.
I really don't know if that's true. She's fucking loud.
Oh, no. She is. But Julie, I've met you.
Yeah,
I've met you both. That's not true. I've never met Carol Kane.
She's very funny.
I hope she's a listener.
She's very funny.
Three, you got that ass. It won't quit.
I mean, until I'm 45 and nobody looks at it, and then I'm invisible.
No, but
and nobody listens to what I say.
Sometimes you'll be walking down the street and people won't know that your ass is 45.
Well,
they'll just see an ass that won't quit.
But it won't quit.
It's an ageless ass.
Well, you know what?
I'll
take that.
We're entering into winter.
I'll take that. And you know what? Nobody will see my ass in the winter because I got my new coat.
Yeah,
covers
but they'll
my ass.
sense it. They'll see the puffiness going. Fwomp, fwomp, fwomp,
So
fwomp.
like the underalls ad from the 80s. Clink, clink.
Okay, we've
gone too far.
Anyway,
so they're in the tavern. Claire obviously realizes all the dudes are ignoring her. She's like, I'm going to bed.
the second she leaves, Murtaugh is like, she doesn't understand. She doesn't know what it is that she might have cost us. You have to make sure she understands. And Jaime is like, I know I do. And he gets this look on his face that's like 10% joy, 70% dread, and then like 20% curiosity. Is that a good ratio?
Yeah.
It's mostly dread, but there's a little like,
there's a little
there's
something.
just a little, and just not knowing. So here's where we get to a scene that is as controversial in the show as it is in the books. People have very complicated reactions to it. I am among those people. It is the spanking scene.
I know about this from Mark talking season 2.
Yeah. Well, no, because we showed you the makeup sex.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we gave you context for the makeup sex. So what Jaime explains is, you and I are cool, but here's the thing.
It wasn't just me.
It wasn't just me. And you need to realize and understand what it is that you did, and you need to learn it so you won't do it again. And I can tell you from personal experience that nothing will do that like a hiding.
Mm-hmm.
And she says, oh God, oh, you're right. Nope, you're right. I won't ever do it again. And then he just goes for it. And there's, it's like a chase scene.
It is like a chase scene.
And
like he chases her around the room.
jaunty music.
The music is ridiculous.
You know, I understand the impulse because you don't want it to seem like Jaime is a domestic abuser. Except for Jaime is a domestic abuser. Except for that his later repentance and also his reasons for doing it are different than, say, the many, 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 many men in this and all countries who beat on the women who love them because they can and it makes them feel powerful. Mm-hmm. Like, this isn't Jaime needs to feel powerful. This is Jaime. It's actually, and this is infuriating, but it's the same argument that parents who spank their children make, which is that this is going to make this lesson stick in a way that other things won't. And I think that argument's bullshit, but it is not one that's unfamiliar even today. It's just not something we say about grown-ass women.
I will say this. He gets in there with his belt. He gives her a few whipping, and then Claire's like, fuck you. And she gives a little bit back.
Claws.
She fucking kicks him in the face.
She Nancy Drews him.
She Nancy Drews him
That's
in the
my
face.
cat.
She gets her marks in. Like later you'll see him, he's got a little bit of a black eye and these big claw marks across his face.
There's a joke the next morning about who was beating who.
Yeah. Great. Whatever.
It's complicated. It's complicated. The important line in it is I said I was going to punish you. I didn't say I wasn't going to. I was not going to enjoy it. Mm-hmm. Which in that moment is not at all sexy. Mm-hmm. But when it comes back at the end of the episode, it's a little bit sexy.
It's a little sexy.
It's a little bit sexy.
So it happens. It's horrible.
But I'm real curious. People who are listening, find us on Twitter. Tell us what you thought about this scene at PodlanderCast. Because everyone I've talked to has a different reaction. Mm-hmm. If they're female, they're all on some level troubled by it, but mileage may vary, right? Mm-hmm. Like he does not. It's not somebody staying with their abuser for all of the like gaslighting reasons that people do. Mm-hmm. Claire never thinks it's her fault. Mm-hmm. She never thinks she should be treated this way.
Right.
She also doesn't ever actually seem to think that Jaime is a bad person. She's just rightfully super pissed. Mm-hmm. And then she can't sit down.
Yeah. And then the next day, she actually can't sit on her ass.
I will admit that I laugh every time that Ned Gowan says, come sit by me. And she says, I'll stand. Thank you. And then they all laugh.
It's like, ugh, gross. So they make it back to Castle Laoghaire finally. And then here she is, Mrs. Fitzgibbons. What a fresh breath.
We love you.
We love you so much. So is everybody's
in she's on Twitter.
Everybody's
Mrs. Fitz.
Mrs. Fitz?
Yeah, Mrs. Fitzgibbons.
Yeah.
Everyone's in the Grand Hall.
Annette Badland.
That's her.
God, that's a good name.
That's her. Everyone's in the Great Hall to welcome Jaime and Heavy D and the boys and Jaime and Claire back. And they're all like congratulatory about them getting married. And then they step into the room and then we turn around and there's Colm and his wife that's draped in about 20 foxes.
Letitia.
By
the way, Horrocks is played by a man named Lachlan O'Mearan, and Letitia is played by Aislinn McGuckin, which is those are the two single most Scottish names we've had on this show.
Mm-hmm. So just as an aside, Annette Badland has a Twitter account. It is Annette Badland 1 because apparently someone stole her Annette Badland.
Okay, guys, can we, listeners? There are a lot of actors out there that don't feel recognized for the work they do. Can all of you go on Twitter, find Annette Badland, and
Annette
say
Badland 1.
Annette Badland 1, and it's Annette
ANN
ETTE Badland, like a Badland, and then numero 1, and say, you are so great on Outlander. We love you so much. You could also, if you want to, say, I really love your episode of Doctor Who, which is what I might say.
Which is actually, like, her thing is, like, actress in Doctor Who, Outlander, Hazelden. Well, now I want to watch all these shows.
Right?
Yep.
But it would be really fun. It's like a what's the fucking thing where you're obnoxious and everyone hates you and you have a party in the middle of the street? Flash mob.
Yes,
like
flash
a Twitter
mob.
flash mob. Can we all just tell Annette Badland 1 how much we love her? That would be really fun.
I would like that.
Okay.
I'm going to do that right now.
Good. Janine is going to start it off.
They're back at Castle Laoghaire. Everyone's partying. Colm and his wife come in and it's very, very awkward.
It's icy.
They are not... Well, specifically Colm is not...
She seems like she gets that he's not happy and she's just trying to be nice.
She's just trying to be nice, but he is icy. And then he turns around and leaves. Like he doesn't... He says something to Claire.
Pause.
Yeah. It's so long.
For TV, it's like insanely long.
He says something to Claire about congratulations on your nuptials or whatever, but he never looks at Jaime and he never says Jaime's name. And then he just turns around and waddles out. And it's like, oh God, that was cold. And then we're in the room with him and Gilf and Ned Gowan, and we find out that Colm is pissed because he knows about the Jacobite money raising while they were out on rent.
Right after Willie got done scraping the human feces off his boots, he went to Colm's office and said,
told him,
hey, just so you know.
Yeah, so we find out later that Willie was the mole, but Willie was totally the mole. Ugh, Willie.
You know what? I'm okay with that. The Jacobite cause, maybe not a particularly sound investment.
Right. So Colm is pissed and he is yelling at Dougal and he's yelling a little bit at Ned Gowan. And then Dougal has had it up to here with the likes of this guy.
Julie just tapped under her chin.
And he's like, I collected your rents. I do this. I have assured your bloodline.
And everyone goes, crickets, crickets.
Everyone
crickets,
in the room
crickets,
is like,
crickets.
record scratch. Wee! This is the first time he's ever said it out loud.
It's
He's
in fact
Hamish's dad.
The emotional effect is a lot like this.
Yeah, it's like a bomb just went off and everyone in the room is like, I can't hear things right. Did he just say he's Hamish's dad? Yes, he did say he was Hamish's dad. And it like everybody's like, bleh, and the room stops and Colm is furious. And what did he just banish? He's like, get out of my room, get out. And then does he talk to Jaime for a while? I can't remember. Meh, whatever.
No, Jaime. Well, at some point, Jaime says, "You're mistaking concern for guilt, for gilf, and it is uncomfortable."
And then we're outside in the digital snow because it totally looks digital snow. It's weird. Like it doesn't.
I'm an accepting viewer. I don't notice.
It didn't land on them, but whatever. We find out Gilf is like, Willie did it, and they're fucking with Willie.
No, Gilf tells him. Well, Jaime tells him to stop.
Right.
Then there's a whole like Fraser Mackenzie showdown, but they're beating the shit out of Willie, and so their hands are covered with poop.
Yeah, because Willie just can't stop taking
Little
a dump.
Willie won't stop shitting.
So the Mackenzie guys are beating up on their own, and then Jaime and Murtaugh come in and are like, hey, stop it. And they're like, back off, Frasers. And then all of a sudden we are reminded, clan politics, Jaime and Murtaugh are technically outsiders.
And then the man who invented Gilf Golf walks in.
And they fucking figure it out, whatever.
But they all go off. It's obvious that there's like a faction in the clan. This is a serious issue. And Jaime is all confused and upset. And then he's talking to Claire about it. Her hair is especially curly in this episode.
He and Murtaugh go back and are pissing on the castle wall, which is hilarious after what just happened to them. They are straight up pissing on the Laird's castle after they have been reminded of their outsider status.
Right.
And they're like, Murtaugh's like, we got to get the fuck out of here because things are turning against us. We have to pick sides between Dougal and Colm or get out of here right now. And then Jaime figures out a plan and he goes up to Colm and he's like, look, here's what you do.
Oh, he figures it out from Claire, remember? Like he talks to Claire because they're just chatting about them being at odds, blah, de blah. And then it looks like Claire is going to get into bed and Jaime is going to go with her. And she says, what are you doing? He says, I thought.
And
she
she's
says,
like,
think again.
And turns over. Cold wife.
And he is not happy.
Don't come into my bed after you beat my ass. Get out. So then Jaime goes to Colm and he's like, look, you got to just let Dougal be Dougal. You got to let Heavy D.
Where does he get the idea from? Because it's from Murtaugh. Because Murtaugh says it doesn't matter. The Jacobite thing's not going to happen anytime soon.
Right.
So basically he goes and says, listen, this isn't a reality
Yet.
Spoiler set. Je suis spoiler.
Need that. We really need that as just like a go-to soundbite.
Oh, we'll get it. We'll make some sort of button. We'll get you like a DJ pad where you just press.
I got a MIDI pad. I'm trying to figure it out.
Great.
Yeah.
He goes and he says, the Jacobite rebellion is not going to be a problem anytime soon. Like, they don't have money. They don't have men. They don't have resources. They don't have support. The clans are too busy stealing each other's cows to get it together to agree on anything. Just give him the fucking money as a present and it'll solve all the problems.
Yeah.
And Colm's like, fuck you. Okay.
No, fuck you. You're right. So let's add.
Also, we skipped the reason that Colm is so mad at Jaime is that he married an English woman, knowing that means that no one in the clan will support him as his successor.
Yeah, Jaime can't
which
succeed.
means that Colm was planning to fucking find a way to bypass Dougal so that Dougal wouldn't be the chieftain.
God, Sonny Corleone. He is Sonny Corleone. Okay, so Jaime has taught Colm down. It's all going to be fine. And then who is it that's like, invite the Duke of Sandringham over because he's a Jacobite. And then that can seem a little bit Like you're trying to get ahead of it or trying to understand more.
To feel it out. Well, it's Ned Gowan who says
Gowan.
that. And then Colm says, Ned Gowan, do not think that agreeing with me will get you out of my display. Whatever, it's a sick burn.
Yeah, and he's just like, shut up. And then somebody makes a really bad gay joke about the Duke of Sandringham. It's something about
protecting your hindquarters.
Yeah, protecting your butts. Like,
although, you know what, I'll say this. They all don't want to get fucked in the ass, but there's no gay panic.
It also just seems kind of normal.
Freaked out or conflicted about their masculinity.
Yep.
They're just like, oh well, I mean, he's going to try to stick his finger up your anus, so like, just be aware.
Just be ready for some
grab
ass.
He's a nice guy.
Yeah. And then Leary shows up. Jaime has to go to his private place, which is actually just by the creek.
And I'm realizing now that we skipped the first time. Leary is like, why did you do that?
I just don't want to talk about it.
We're basically, she says like, oh, well, you kissed me. You did all that kissing of me. And then you married this asshole. And he's like, oh, well, it was Colm's arrangement. Mistake.
That's what I said. Like, why are you leading her along? Why don't you say, I'm sorry, I have incredibly hot fucking sex with that woman and I'm never going to look at you again. Bye.
I think it's that thing that some dudes do where they don't say the truth to avoid having someone react negatively to them.
Mm-hmm.
Janine's raising
his hand.
Janine's raising her hand.
Confirmed.
Yeah, confirmed. Anyway, he earlier in the episode, they meet in the hallway and she says this shit, and he does kind of like string her along a little bit.
It's not you, it's Dougal.
It's not you, it's Dougal, as opposed to it's not you, it's this incredibly hot boning I'm having with my soulmate that I got married to. So you can piss the fuck off and get out of my face.
Jaime is very conflicted. His wife won't let him into the bed, which is not a minor thing because it's symbolic of everything else in their relationship. And he is in love. And it's hurtful, and he's upset, and he doesn't know what to do. So he goes to a special thinking place to skip dick rocks. to skip dicks.
Mm-hmm. He's really good at it. Yeah. Add that to the list of things he's good at.
Yeah, skipping dick rocks.
I think that it's probably related to bean flicking, but anyway.
Yeah. Finger dexterity.
Mm-hmm. On the wrist.
And it's all on the wrist. It's all on the wrist.
So he's at a special thinking place when all of a sudden Leary shows up, and I'm sorry, you can tell that she's all tarted up before she takes off that cloak because her hair is down. It looks like she's got extra makeup on, and she's there and she's doing this thing that I do not speak ill of my fellow females. I acknowledge our folly from time to time, and when you're real young and insecure and you want to seduce somebody, you put this face on that's like halfway between prostitute and frightened rabbit. Where it's like you look like you're gonna cry, but also you want a dick like immediately.
Just put it inside me.
I remember the first time I saw you, James Fraser.
It's just, she's horrible. She's fucking horrible.
Not the actress, by the way.
No, she's really good.
She's great because we hate her so much. But at the same time, I get it. Like, I remember thinking, oh, this guy liked me. He doesn't like me anymore. I just need the right circumstances to remind him why he liked me so much.
So Leary's trying to make that circumstance happen. She drops her cloak. Boobs are out.
She's wearing a corset without anything underneath it. It's more like a bodice of some sort.
Mm-hmm. And she has a shady dig at Claire about she's been married before.
But I've lain with no one.
I've lain with no one, and I want you to be my first and my last. And it's like, I'm a virgin, to spoil me. And then she tries to kiss him, and he gets really close because he's really horny because Claire won't do it with him. But then he's like, no, I made a vow. And then Leary,
and I won't break it,
is very upset. And she collects her cape and flounces the fuck away from the stream.
Which, when you're Scottish, sounds like
flounce. She flounced away.
And God, her boobs must be so cold.
Mm-hmm.
Because all that digital snow.
And he screams behind her. I wrote this down. He screams behind her, I'm sorry. And I'm like, don't be sorry. She's horrible.
He doesn't know she's horrible yet.
Don't be sorry. It's the truth.
He just thinks, don't be sorry, it's the truth is good.
Yeah.
But he just thinks, oh, here's this girl that I kissed a couple of times who had a thing for me. And now I'm married. I should be compassionate. That's the right thing. He doesn't know that she's awful yet.
Yeah.
Janine?
And also, though, like, yeah, she had a thing for him. He had a thing for her.
So no, he really just wanted somebody to make out with.
He had a boner for her at least.
He did have a boner for her. Yeah.
Guy.
Yeah.
That's some much needed perspective from Janine.
Yes, you're right. He did have
At
a
this
thing.
point, I'd like to give a shout out to Savannah, who sent us a Patreon message saying very nice things about the show. Thank you, Savannah. You're the best. But then she added that she always imagines Janine as being Chris Hemsworth from Ghostbusters, which is exactly right.
Yeah, it is.
Totally true.
Yeah. And then she added an incredible gif of him walking down the hallway.
Which I'll be recycling for a
And,
while.
Yeah, somehow
it's pretty good.
Somehow she got a gift of me walking down a hallway.
How did she get a picture of it? How did she get a
How did
picture of
that
our
happen?
Janine?
How did that even happen? Anyway.
So Jaime goes back to Castle Laoghaire, and there's Claire with her extra curly hair. This is where the extra curly hair is.
It's so curly.
Like, why did it get so fucking curly out of nowhere? But she's brushing one curl over and over again, and maybe that's it. She was just going curl by curl. And Jamie's trying to talk to her. I don't remember. He realizes that the spanking was a bad idea, and that maybe their marriage is going to be different than his parents' marriage, and maybe
I think you come from wherever you come from, things are simpler or safer,
different or different or
whatever
something.
it is. This was my parents' marriage. This is everything I know. And maybe between us, it has to be different. And then he takes his dagger, his derg, and swears the same oath. I'm not sure if this is clear in the show. It is in the books.
Oh, no, it's the same.
Okay, the same oath that he swears to Colum. Basically, he swears an oath to her as his laird. Chieftain. And points the dagger at his heart, and it is moving and hot as fuck.
It is very hot.
And then she's obviously conflicted, and he says, "Is that not enough? What do you want from me? Do you wish to live separately?" And which I like. That's the detail that I'm like, man, this guy really committed. Mm-hmm. He doesn't try to have it annulled. He just says, "Do you wish to live separately? Do you not want me around?" And she says, "I feel that I ought to. But I don't."
I'm getting goosebumps.
And then this is my pick.
This is the hottest sex scene in the show.
Yeah. It's you in the past have said other things.
No, that's after watching it again today.
This is the one.
I was like, it's the one.
Although the one that starts the next episode also pretty hot.
But yes, but not in the same.
Yes.
Not in the same.
This
This is raw.
yes.
It is, and it's
Vigorous.
very like animalistic. Like it's like when
They
you dig your
just-
nails into somebody.
Yeah,
And
they like the need is intense. And so
I
the
did
sex
say
is
it was
intense.
like Yakety Sykes to get naked though, because they pull their clothes off so fast, and because they just have to do this right now.
But it's
And then
so the really key moment is at some point she ends up on top, and as she's just having the longest orgasm any woman has ever had in life,
and the quickest one. God damn it,
no,
Jamie.
she's basically coming this whole time.
Right. Well, I mean, but that's like really fast for that to happen.
Oh, I know, but it's always fast. Fast
I know.
for it to happen, always. I'm talking duration.
Yes.
It's just like, I'm coming and I'm just going to keep coming.
And I'm going to hold this knife to your throat.
Yeah. And she holds the knife to his throat and makes him swear that if he ever beats her again, she can tear out his heart and eat it for breakfast.
Yep.
And that doesn't sound sexy. And yet
I wrote, I will cut your heart out and have it for breakfast. And then I wrote down, this is pretty good doing it.
Oh, it really is. It's really hot. And then there's a switch, and then he's on top, and he says, "You're mine, money down, and I mean to make you call me master." And I'm sorry, that's pretty hot too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it peters out, no pun intended. I will say that the first time I've ever seen his back and it looked like makeup was in this scene.
Oh, I didn't notice because I was too distracted by the feeling in my loins.
In my dirt. There was a little bit of an edge, and I was like, oh, blend, bitches.
So
Blend it out.
I'm sorry, the makeup artists were probably distracted.
Yeah, everybody on set was distracted that
It's
day.
really all the rumors about the two of them dating in real life, I am convinced they all stem from this scene, because in this scene, how could you do that and not immediately go home and fuck that person?
How could you not actually be fucking that person? Like right there. Like
I'm
there.
sure they're not, because
It
those
sure looked
people,
like it.
they're thoughtful people.
There's an entire group of other people.
Yes.
there.
No, I assume they were like, let's pretend like we're not turned on by this, and then I'm going to see you in 6 hours.
Yeah.
And then I hope they just fuck their brains out, because it is hot as shit.
Right.
So anyway, the next morning they wake up. There's more cute chat.
That's when he says, "What does fucking mean?"
What does fucking mean? What about sadist?
Yeah.
I cannot fault you for your something Sassenach. Anyway, then they have some cute like, oh,
Maybe
whatever.
we'll do it. No, we're too hungry.
Yeah,
It's like that.
Food.
It's like we're
Vixen. If you bet a Vixen, you have to expect to get bet.
Yeah, we're
And
just
then-
like they're about to do it, and then they're like breakfast.
And then Claire just
Oh,
glances
by the way,
under the
this
bed.
all happened on the floor.
Oh yeah, in front of the
yeah,
fireplace.
no bed. This is on the actual floor in front of the fireplace.
You know, luckily, because JB
And then
has
they
to
slept there.
roll all over the ground to get in his clothes, it was probably pretty cushy.
right. And then she looks over, and what's under the bed?
An Alwash.
A fucking Blair Witch bullshit
Yeah.
stick thing. Not good.
And she pulls it out. She's like, what on earth is this? And he says, oh, it's an Alwash. An Alwash.
Yeah.
Who would on earth would have put something like this under our bed?
And he looks at
gets
her and goes,
real stony. Leery.
Blackout.
Credits. It's hot. All right, so let's do the scales real quick because we're pushing our time limit.
Yep.
All right, so first we'll do costumes.
I was really interested in the kilt rolling around on the floor, and when no, that's in the next episode. Never mind.
Okay, so on a scale from America's Next Top Model to RuPaul's Drag Race All Stars.
Oh my god, no, nothing, no.
Well, but think about process, right? Because you brought up getting dressed, so I thought process.
Getting clueless.
Ooh, solid choice. Okay, I'm going to agree with that.
Okay.
So next, the getting up to get a beer scale. We're going to save the doing it scale for last.
Can I
Yeah.
offer a costume note?
Yes.
There's a picture of Jamie in pants, and it's weirding me out.
Of Sam Huon or of Jamie?
Jamie.
Oh, it must be from France.
He's wearing pants in this episode, or the image on IMDb is connected to this episode.
Oh,
Nah.
yeah, turn that. Can you turn that shit? No, I'm gonna bend.
No
Oh,
way.
yeah, at the duel.
Oh, at the duel. That's the next episode.
Oh, well, fuck them.
Nah.
Okay.
No.
Moving on.
It's
That's
okay.
okay.
We'll come.
Yeah.
We'll come back to the pants. All right. So the get up to get a beer scale. So I mean, there are a lot of things that happen.
There are a lot of things that happen. There's not a lot of room for pause here, but it's not quite as crazy as the next episode.
Would you say, rather than giving you a scale, I'm going to give you a suggestion. Some incredibly intense highs and some like take a breather moments.
Whatever. Yes.
Thelma and Louise.
Yes.
It's Thelma and Louise.
Excellent.
And so them going over the cliff as Claire fucking him while holding a knife to his throat.
Yes.
Great. Okay.
You guys agree so much. It's so good.
Yeah. All right. Last scale. Doing it scale.
I do not think that I have actually ever seen a movie that had doing it as hot as this in it.
I'm trying to think of a sex scene I've seen in television or in a movie.
No.
That's as hot as this.
I can't. I truly cannot.
And that blends. This is actually one scene that I've seen. You guys showed this to me after the wedding to give me some context about other stuff. But this is like the one. Like I can't think of an instance where there is as much like love and animosity and violence for the thing that happened, and then the makeup aspect of it. Like it is so well rounded. It's surprising.
Well, it's like it makes it clear that all both of them have wanted to do the entire episode is just be together, and all of the absence makes the heart grow harder.
Woof.
Woof. I can't think of one. If you can think of a sex scene hotter, find us on Twitter.
I truly cannot think of a hotter
really
sex
can't,
scene.
and part of it might be because I'm so distracted by the feeling in my loins.
It's like I'm actually
Like,
revisiting that scene right
we're
now,
only talking about it,
and I'm just
still,
like thinking about
you know
it.
what
and
I appreciate
it's too
about
much.
it? Neither of them is all that concerned with making sure their body looks amazing
No.
because they're just fucking.
They're just straight into fucking. Yeah, I know.
Okay, guys.
Yeah. All right.
I know. It's making
All
me
right.
bothered. And I
Yeah. Okay. All right.
okay.
All right.
So now, Are there things we have to do besides list our patrons?
Let's just think empirical maybe.
Oh yeah. Hey, empirical. Thank you. We just floated the growler of the honey rye cream ale. It was delicious as always. Empirical, exploring the science of beer. We love you very much and thank you for your support.
And if you're in Chicago, go check them out. If you're not and you're visiting Chicago, first of all, like send us a message and say, hey, I listen to your show. I'm visiting Chicago. And as long as you don't seem insane, we will totally meet you for a beer.
It's true.
Yeah.
And then also just go and drink their beer. It's wonderful.
Foster and Ravenswood.
And if you go there, we're not far.
No, we're not.
All right. And we also need to thank all of our Patreon patrons. They're all wonderful, but we are just going to list the people who pledge enough money that we list them every week. But we think you're all wonderful. That is Kathleen Moniz, who has never listened to a single episode.
She will listen to the one that her daughter records with us.
Yeah, that's true. Jen Lander Drunklin. Jed Lander.
Still funny.
It's great. If you ever want us to say a different name, just even for kicks, like if you're like, I want you to call me like Boomsday Sweatpants, like, we'll do it. Friday Payton, also a fake name, right?
Yes.
Yeah, but you know what? We know who you are, Friday, and we appreciate you. Beth Locke. That's a real name.
That's real.
And Amanda Newton. Thank you so much for sponsoring the show. You're the best. Please follow us on Twitter at PodlanderCast. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/PodlanderCast. Give us a review on iTunes. It really honestly does help, or Stitcher, wherever you listen. Subscribe, tell your friends, etc. And if you decide to give Annette Badland one some love, let's use a hashtag.
I should use a hashtag.
And that we're going to start it at, well, I don't want to, it's because this won't come out for a couple days.
Okay.
So let's do hashtag Fitzmob, like a flash mob.
Yes.
So it's FITZMOB. Hashtag Fitzmob.
That's great.
I wonder if I can edit mine. I'm going to do it.
No, you just do another one when the episode comes out.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Hashtag Fitzmob. Please, if it's just Janine and Julie and I hope it still brings her joy. But let's give this woman a little Christmas tree and make sure everyone knows how much we love Mrs. Fitz. So I'm Allison.
I'm Julie.
That's Janine.
Oh, hey!
And thank you so much for listening. We'll be back next week with another episode of Podlander Drunkcast.
Bye.
Bye.